Topic 2-3, powers of monomials. Find the power of a monomial. It's like using a big stamp. What that means is you're repeating something, and so you want to make a stamp of it, so you're just going to, so you don't have to write it a whole lot, and you're just going to stamp it over and over and over again. So thinking about something to a power of something is just repeating it. This can be referenced in our whole textbook, Chapter 7, Section 3, on page 460. Okay, let's look at the first one. Actually, at the very top, it shows if I have 3x to the 4, that's like stamping it 3x, 3x, 3x 4 times. So some examples of this would be if I have something to the power m to the 3 to the power of 4. That's different than saying m to the 3 times m to the 4. Because remember, we learned that's addition. But if you stamp m to the 3 4 times, you're looking at 3 4 times. So 3 times 4 is 12. So again, if it was a negative, you're stamping this term, this monomial, 3 times, and therefore you're taking negative 4 to the power of 3. So we should make note right here that if you put in a negative 4 to the power of 3 in your calculator, you would actually even powers are what makes it not work. So you got to be careful. If this is odd, it's going to end up giving you a negative 64. But if that happened to be an even power, it wouldn't have given you the right thing. So you have to remember that you put it in parentheses. That negative 4 to the power of 3 is negative 64. You take the m to the power of 3 and the n to the power of 3. So each one of them now becomes raised to the powers like multiplication. Alright, so let's look at a few more examples. Number 3, the 4, you're stamping it 4 times, because this whole thing, monomial in the parentheses, is now to raise to the power of 4. So 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, 256. A 3, you take the 3 and you're multiplying it by 4 because you've got 4 of them. So that's why that becomes 12. And B is 2 times the 4, which would be 8. So you can visualize it all written out, but if you'll just remember that you're multiplying, you'll get that correctly. Alright, here's a fraction for number 4. 1/3 to the power of 3, that's 1 times 1 times 1, but it's also 3 times 3 times 3. That's where we get the 27 and the 1 on top. Let's see, oh, that one's done separately. 2 to the power of 3, that's like having, I'm sorry, to the power of 2 of them, so that's 9. If it helps, break it into this, but if you can look at, with just the arrows, just distributing each thing, then you can also get to this step, because this is raising 3 to the power of 2, P, you're multiplying that together to get 6 of them, but you already have 3 of them over here, so 6 and 3 is 9. And then the Q is to the 8 here and the 1 here, and that's why you have 8 and 3, which is 11. So study that a little closer, so it's a larger problem. Lots of the examples and the problems in these are going to be a little bit that way. So again, look through, watch this closely. You're multiplying the 5 times the 2. I'm sorry, it's not 5 times 2, it's 5 to the power of, you rubber stamped it twice. So this and this would be 4, x to the 6, y to the 2, that you're now multiplying all of that by 5. That's where we get the 20, x to the 6, y to the 2. If you want to rubber stamp it 3 times, take that value 3 times. Notice this has parentheses and brackets, so be careful. This is taken to the power of 2, so you have 3 of them. But then all of that taken to a power of 2. So then you're having to say 2 times 2. No, I'm sorry. That's actually having 6 of them, and then 6 to the power of 2 is 12. You end up with 12. But study this a little closer, because that's a little tricky having parentheses and brackets. You might want to pause that and look at that a little bit closer. Okay. 7, 8, 9, and 10 is just remembering back that you're adding. You just add the ones in front. Multiplying, you add the 2 together. So this is 7, 8, 9, 10 is a little bit of review. Different than the first 6 problems. This you can't combine them because this has an x to the 4 and this is x to the 3. They don't have a like term to be able to combine, so that actually just is your answer. It's already simplified. And again, this one you're multiplying, 2 times 1 is just 2. Don't make that a 3. That's multiplication. But what do we do with the 4 and the 3? You add them, adding exponents. And this is just a visual to see how that's looking. And that concludes 2-3.